yesterday. I
Yeah.
was absolutely sweating my arse out doing this.
Oh
But
no.
I'm nice a little bit, a little bit cloudier out there now. So I'm quite,
Yeah, it's a lot nicer today.
it's quite, you got your curtains drawn a little bit, so don't let
Yeah.
anyone out. I'll tell you what I think quite funny now, quickly going into this. There's now that online thing where you've got to have ID based verification if you want to have a
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
private time. It says on it, and I need to turn this into a joke, make sure you're in a well lit area.
God.
So, okay, I'm going for a load time. Let me just quickly go out into my garden to face
Yeah, just
verify
have a hug.
myself.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, yeah,
Like
yeah. It's
the
ridiculous.
laptop going up and down to make sure. I mean, it's an absolute joke. Uh,
It's so funny.
it's ridiculous. Hello, welcome to another episode of Sit Down for Stand Up. I have with me today Adam Dorr, very funny comedian. I'm quite a big fan. From Kent Way, Canterbury. I've seen him in London a couple times. I've gigged with you actually once or twice, but that was when I was quite
Mhm.
new. So, Adam, how's it going, man? You good?
It's going all right back here. How are you doing, my friend?
I am very, very good. Very excited. Apart from the fact that I'm absolutely shattered. I live next to an alley, and I think it was like the annual Fox gangbang season.
Of
Like
course.
it was non-stop. It was like playing the orchestra, just non-stop for about 6 hours of the night. So other than that,
Okay.
living the dream. So
Mhm.
Adam, reason for the episodes, I saw your stuff. I really liked it. I just want to I just want to sort of like know more about you and your life in comedy. So I'll start off with the easiest one. Then none of them are really hard. You know, how and why and when did we get into comedy?
So I've always been into like scripted and sketch comedy from like as long as I can essentially remember like being alive. I used to write sketch comedy when I was like very young. When I was like 14 years old, I wrote some stuff for like local theatre groups and just for my own entertainment. And then when I was about 17, 18 years old, I got more into stand-up and I told myself, oh, this is what I want to do. This is what I want to do for the rest of my life. And I said the first thing I'm going to do when I get out of school is go to an open mic, do some stand up. COVID happened. I turned 18 like right before lockdown, so that was not an option. Other than like Zoom gigs and stuff like that, and I didn't really know how to get involved in that, so I put it on hold. And then I watched my friend at uni do his first ever gig absolutely kill, and then I went right. I've got no excuse not to like give this a go. So at the age of 20, I finally did my first gig after putting it off. Yeah,
Okay, well, 20's young,
yeah.
so that's fine. I don't know what master's, but what did you study at uni?
I did drama and film, so it was already like a very natural like progression. We
Transition.
actually did like yeah, we actually did like a stand-up unit at my degree like a little bit after I'd done a few gigs already. So it sort of like all came together quite neatly in that regard.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, that changes things. I can do this from a little bit more of an analytical approach then. Would you say being a comedian is more nature or nurture? Can you learn how to be a comedian, or does life have to sort of scold you into it?
Oh God. That is really hard to answer. Um, I I do think some people are like naturally funnier. I think you can learn it. Um, I think having an interest is like the most important thing, but having an interest also doesn't guarantee that you're going to be funny. I know lots of people who are into like I have a lot of friends and family who are into comedy who I don't think are funny people, but they've got like a genuine interest in it. So having that interest is like crucial. So I'd say in that regard, yeah, nature, but you have to like actively teach yourself how comedy works. You've got to actively like I don't want to say grind, but you've actively got to um, go out of your way to learn how to be funny in order to get like it's not enough to just like watch Frankie Boyle do some stuff and then get a microphone up and go on stage. That's not gonna cut it. You're not gonna understand why that stuff's funny. But it's a good baseline interest. So I'd say nurture's probably more important nature, with like a handful of exceptions along the way. But yeah, I think I think it's more of a taught thing rather than something that's like innate in people.
Okay, I always like to say it's like singing. You can either sing or you
Mhm.
can't. You can learn how to sing, but only to a certain level.
Yeah, sure. Like that's reasonable. I think anyone can have like a surface understanding of like how to write a set, but like yeah, only a handful of people can probably take it to the next level. Yeah.
And what do you want out of comedy? And what does the comedy world get out of you being in it?
Oh, God. I,
Yeah.
I'd like to do it full time because I love it more than anything else in the world. Like I've committed to it. I've quit my job in order to do it,
Okay.
which is risky. Uh, um, I don't know what the comedy world gets out of me being in it. God, I don't know if there is a level. I think I'm taking more than I'm giving.
That's a good answer, yeah.
Yeah, I think I'm
Yeah.
taking more than I'm giving at the moment. But who knows? I'd like to be at a level where I can do it full time and rock up anywhere and do new material as like a good baseline for it, and then who knows down the line getting further. But I don't think I'm giving anything at the moment. But who knows?
Would okay, what type of comedy do you do? So I can lead me on to my next one that I want to ask, but this one needs to be answered first.
What sort of comedy would I do? I tend to talk about like my life, but in a very like silly way. A lot of it is like semi-autobiographical. So I talk about like being autistic, I talk about my family, I talk about being raised Catholic, but I essentially make everything else about it up. I make up how it's affected me. I it's sort of like absurdist and autobiographical at the same time, I guess.
Okay,
It's I think my sense of humor is quite silly. But like nothing. A lot of like my jokes are very nonsensical. That they're not stuff you could like say in a conversation with another person because it just wouldn't make sense. It's not naturally conversationally funny. It's just me talking absolute shit, and it's me knowing I'm talking absolute shit. And I don't really know if there's like a coherent genre I can put to it, but I usually say absurd is probably is the best word.
okay. So like I say, so you say your comedy is quite universal. You can almost play every room. So you mean your comedy career could progress in like playing their rooms, being like a household name because you're not going to be taboo to some people.
I don't think I'm like particularly taboo. No, I think I try and be. I wouldn't say I try and be universal, but I don't see why anyone would especially like it unless they thought like the way I told those jokes are shit, which is fair enough. Yeah, I think it's fairly. Yeah, I think it's fairly accessible comedy. I think anyone can get it, anyone can laugh along.
Okay. And yeah, you told me before, but I haven't actually got a little thing yet. How long have you been doing comedy for?
I've been doing it for. I did my first gig 3 years ago, and then I started like doing it more regularly about 2 years ago. I just went, yep, I want to do this. I definitely want to do this for the rest of my life, and I just started doing gigs whenever I could, and I went from doing like one or two gigs a month to at least one every week from that point onward.
And did you try doing the comedy sort of online via Zoom, or did you just wait?
I by the time I did my first gig, I had like essentially the Zoom gig phase had for the most part phased out. So I've never really I it wasn't really active when I did it. I actually did do I have done one Zoom gig not that long ago for like I think it was like for a charity. So my only experience is that one gig. I don't know anything about it other than like secondhand information, other
Oh
than
wait,
like
I
that one
did see you
experience.
on one. Was it coherent comedy?
That's it. Yeah, coherent. Yeah,
Yeah, we're beating them.
you'll be
We're
okay.
beating
We're
them.
rivals.
Say that. But yeah, no, I think comedy does have all good places, and if it's consistently accessible, Because, you know, like going to comedy every single night, trying to work on some new material and stuff, it can be costly. So, you
Oh
know,
yeah, no, absolutely.
online is good. I didn't ask, how did your first gig go? Not on
It
in
went
present.
I think it went well. Like I've watched the footage back a few years later, and I don't like how I perform in it. I'm not happy with like how I perform, and if I perform like that today, I'd be like so angry with myself. Be like, what the fuck is wrong with you? Why are you doing that? But I got laughs. It was there were a lot of people I knew in the crowd at my first ever gig. It was a gig organized by like a friend of mine, so it was like extremely safe. It was not deep end. I didn't do like King Kong for my first gig. I didn't do I didn't do anything with like actual stakes. Didn't even do like a mini gold trophy show at the Cav or anything like that. It was just like something that my friend organized, and I thought, yep, I'm going to give this a go. So yeah, it went well, but it would have been really weird if it didn't.
So, you know, you said you weren't happy with it. What are some things you've learned between now and then?
um, a lot of it comes from like the way I tell jokes. I don't think my actual like joke writing style has changed
Mm.
that much. I think I still have a very similar sense of humor and methodology to writing. Back then, I still talk about very similar things. I was talking about being autistic. I was doing like silly comparisons and stuff like that. The main difference was I was reading from a notebook, which you want to try and get out of as soon as possible. So that was a little bit embarrassing to like look back on, but you know, it's your first gig, so what can you do? And I was just very low energy when I was doing it, which I'm not now. I try and be slightly crazy, slightly all over the place when I do it. I like to bring energy into the room. And I just wasn't doing that then. I was extremely boring to watch. It was that like genuinely quite a task watching me. I don't know how anyone in that room was enjoying it.
I mean,
Yeah, I think.
I deleted all my first little ever videos
Oh
from YouTube.
really?
So I posted everything on YouTube on my personal one, and I just had to delete them all. Looking back,
Oh no.
I was like, "How did I put this out to the public?" Like, but you should record every set. Do you agree on that? Do you think you should record every single thing you do? Maybe not put it
I
out
try
there. But,
I try and record as like much as possible. I don't think I've recorded every single thing I've done because I have a shit memory. So I have forgotten to do it, and I've probably gotten worse as I've gone on because I used to be a lot better at doing it. But I think the more I've gigged, the more I've just kind of gone, oh right, I've forgotten to film it again. But yeah, it's a good attitude to have. I agree with it. I'm just really bad at it.
so you're doing well. You say you don't write as much. How often do you write new material? How often? What is your sort of like your writing process?
Um, I try and write 4 new ideas down a day. They don't have
Cool.
to be good. In fact, they are often garbage. They are often just a thought that goes into my head that's never going to be used again. I don't really do it with the intention of putting it into a set most of the time. I just do it to be like, oh, there's an idea, there's an idea, there's an idea. And if there is something that's good, I will try and put it into a set as soon as possible. I think let's say I've written like 10 ideas out on my phone. I think maybe one or two of those might see a new material night or be tested on a friend before a gig or something like that.
Okay, and how many times would you try that joke on new material before you're like, you know what, there's room here, or you'd fuck it off?
Ooh. I think for me it's like three,
Okay,
give it 3 goes.
three goes,
Like
three
if it
different rooms.
3 different rooms, and if it bombs in all 3 of them, it's a shit idea. If it bombs in one but the other two like it, then okay, there's legs there, but I've got to change some stuff. And yeah, um,
Yeah.
that's sort of like my guideline.
Okay. Oh, I love asking this question. It's a new one I ask. What is one joke you've written in the past that you thought, oh, this is a killer, and you
Mhm.
look back and you think, why the fuck did I think that was funny?
Oh God. Oh God.
I love it so
Um,
much. It's love self reflection. Right.
oh God, let me Okay, it's not really like a joke, but more like a routine. And this is a genuinely true story that I used to tell on stage. I had someone years ago threaten to kill me, which like I had to go to like court over, and it was a whole thing. And I thought this would be really funny to go on stage, not get help, not talk about this to a professional. I thought, yep, this is going on stage. I'm going to talk about this like this is a normal thing, and it's going to be funny. And it worked the first few times, but I've looked back on it, and there's no jokes to it. I'm just telling quite a serious story on stage, and I don't tell it on stage anymore because there is it's such a difficult thing to tell people in, especially in 5 minute sets. You're going, oh, someone threatened to kill me. Shut up. Get help is what I want to tell my past self. Like, don't talk about that. That is a very serious thing to talk about, and you're not funny enough to do it justice yet. Basically,
Yeah, I get that. And also, I think there are some parts of our lives we do still need to keep to ourselves. I do
yeah,
think comedy is cheap man's therapy, and it is
yeah,
good to get things off your chest. But if you can't do it justice, it ends up playing more on your mind than being do you know what I mean? Like
yeah,
depressing it. I don't know. I'm trying
yeah.
to get. Daniel word's not good at the moment. So yeah, like as long as as long as telling that joke that is a traumatizing moment in your life does it justice, not does it justice, you know what I mean? Works in your
Yeah,
favor, makes you feel better after it. Then I didn't give it credit. Then yeah,
yeah.
save it for the
It
therapist.
it's basically like saying I need to actually talk to a professional, and if I can make it work in like a longer set, maybe. But I was doing it in 5 minute sets, which was a mistake.
Okay, what is your favorite joke the joke that usually gets the best laugh, or is there a joke that has a soft spot in your heart and it's
Oh.
always part of your set no matter what?
Um, the joke of mine that gets the most laughs is actually my least favorite joke I have ever written, and it's my opening line. Uh, for those who don't know, I introduce myself by going, "Hello, by day I go by Adam, but by night I'm Ad PM." I think it's the stupidest joke I have ever written. I hate it so much. I wrote it just to like throw ideas out there. People love it so much that it's become my opener, and I've been using it for a whole year. But I don't find it funny. I think it's silly, but people like it. My actual favorite joke I do have in my set, and it's me saying, I'm autistic, I'm left wing, which means I love trains, but I hate rail privatization. I am so proud of that. I
I
think
remember, I've
that's
heard that bit. I remember that, but yeah, yeah, it
that's the
wasn't the
one I'm.
easiest room to play it in, but yeah, it did well. It
Thank
received.
you. I like that. I like that one. I think that's the one I'm the most proud of, and that probably gets the second most laughs. So it works.
Mm.
It works in favor. But yeah, my the one that gets the most consistent laughs is a joke that I hate. I think it's so silly, but people like it, and it's a nice problem to have. It's a nice problem to have, even though I'm always like, oh, really? People like it?
Yeah, I do. I mean, sometimes you've got to do the low hanging fruit.
Oh, for sure, yeah.
Like my open bit, I haven't changed it. I don't like it. Is I don't like society anymore. They made it so you can't laugh at fat people. It makes this job a lot harder. Like nice and simple. Like that is the exact reaction it gets. Uh, that's
Really?
it. And it's like, cool,
Oh,
I'm
no
off
way.
now. Yeah. It doesn't get a laugh. It doesn't get like a. I'm not expecting a bloody applause from it because it's dog shit. But it gets that.
Yeah,
Right, I'm in. And then when you're in, you're at the races. You know what I mean? Then you're okay.
yeah, yeah,
I'm talking now.
yeah,
Like,
yeah,
I'm off. So, what is the? We do it for 2.5 years. What is the worst thing you've seen someone do on stage to date?
yeah. Oh God. Worst thing I think I've seen someone do. I went. This wasn't even a gig I was performing at. I went to watch a show that someone else was at, and it was a gong show. And there was this one person who was doing like a set where they were like playing, like they were playing a character. They weren't doing like regular stand up. It was all alternative, and alternative comedy is so hard to do at gong shows because you've got to do so much in like a minute.
But it's got
Oh,
to
I
be
thought of
straight
another one.
away characters. and gongs.
I thought of another thing at a gong show, so I'm going to say two if that's okay.
That's absolutely. You can say 50 if you can say what you want. I love
Uh,
secondhand embarrassment. Do you know what I mean?
oh,
I love hearing bad stories.
oh, okay. So the first one was like at this gong show that my friend was at, and this guy was just playing like his character as a golfer, and he just did like the most stupid voice. It was like, "Hello, I'm Billy the golf," and kept like throwing golf balls at the audience as if to like win them over. And it was the easiest gong show I've ever seen. Like almost everyone got through that night except him. And the moment the grace period ended, all three people in unison went and gonged this guy off. It was so funny. And then the second one was
Was he
actually,
so? Was he throwing the balls underarm, overarm? Was he
I
teeing
don't
them
even
off
remember.
from the stage?
He was sort of like just picked them up and yeeted them while talking. And it was really all like, he clearly was looking for like a gimmick to do comedy with. He clearly hadn't thought his set through at all. And I love the ball. I genuinely admire the like guts in just throwing a new idea out there. Like that's so fair and but it was so poorly executed, but in a
Was
way
he
that like I can
aware?
sort of
Was he aware that it sucked after?
I think he was. I think he
That's
was
fine
sort of
then.
like
That's fine.
yeah, like
Self-evaluation's fine. No, I'm cool with that
um
then.
the second most embarrassing thing I think was when I did Beat the Frog. There was one guy who was doing only his like second ever set.
Yeah.
And he opened with a joke about fucking his dog or something like that, something very like gross. And then the audience all went, And at Beat the Frog, they're quite generous compared to other gong shows. It's very rare that most people last about 3 minutes there. And rather than like do another joke, he tried to explain why fucking his dog was okay. Like not even telling a joke. He's like, no, it's fine. And then immediately you just hear the music for being gonged off. And it was so like again just the worst case of reading the room possible. Like if something flops, just abandon it. But he just went, no, it's fine, and it was so funny.
How gong shows usually worked out for yourself? And have you done gong shows? Obviously you have because you've been there.
I've, I've done
But
I've, I've done two. I haven't done that many gong shows because I essentially I was scared of them when I was doing them at first. So I've done Big Belly and I've done Beat the Frog. um,
you have big belly.
I I've done Big Belly, yeah, with the dildos.
When was you?
When was I
Yeah.
like on the lineup?
No, recently or a while back.
Oh, this was back in like October.
Oh, okay.
So almost a year ago. Um, First Gong Show, I'd already done like over 100 gigs at that point, so it's kind of like, oh, okay, I've got to do one now, or what? Like, what's the point? And I lasted about 3 minutes, which I'm not like, not like too shabby for a first go at a Gong Show, but
It's a different game altogether.
also yeah. What happened there was I like when the first gong went off, I literally just went, "Yep, fair enough," and I let the other two people immediately gong me off because I was just like, um, I knew I was bombing, so I was just like, kind of like, "Yep, just let's just get it over and done with." And then Beat the Frog was actually like amazing. I had to travel a long way for it. I had put off doing another gong show again for like the longest time because I had such a like rough time at Big Belly that I was like, yeah, this is not for me. This is not my format. But I was reading somewhere that like certain competitions like it when you have a gong show on video, like you beating a gong show on video. And I thought, yeah, that makes sense. I'm going to apply to do uh, Beat the Frog because I'd heard good things about it. And I went up, spent over 100 quid to get there, and I beat it. And if I had not beat it, I would have. I don't know what I would have done to myself because that was so much money. But I had a great time.
Yeah, I haven't done Beat the Frog yet, but yeah, so I speak to comedians all the time. I know a lot of comedians. They say it is a good room. Like it is a good room to play. It's a good atmosphere. I wouldn't say they are always generous. So like, I wouldn't like
Mhm.
devalue your skill on that. Like credit where credit due. It can be a hard room. So
Oh, for sure.
props for beating it. Like
Oh, thank you.
yeah, like, don't shit on that. Okay, so we gig mostly in London. How do you find the London scene?
Um, Very interesting because early on it was a godsend because Kent is a really quiet scene. It's very small. If you gig in Kent, you're going to see the same people over and over again, and they're nice people. I get along with every comedian in the Kent scene, no problem. Um, London
How was
is.
Scott Fishington? I think I've had.
Oh, I know Scott. Yeah, we went to
Yeah.
uni together.
I was, yeah,
Um,
he's a nice lad. Yeah.
yeah, he's a great guy, very funny. Um, London was fine. I got to, but too many London nights are identical. There's too many bringers.
Next
And
question, and it's one of my favourite ones that I go on a rant on. So,
uh,
what else in London? They're quite similar. Bringer. What else?
they're all they're all similar. They're all 5 minutes, and it's hard to get progression from London. I've had some great gigs in London. I've enjoyed lots of gigs in London. Met lots of really cool people doing it, but there's just so many nights that are the same. That's it. There's too many bringers. There's too many 5 minute spots, and there's not enough progression. That's basically.
I've sort of noticed a lot more on the forums. People are saying quite out loud, like, "Oh, if you're from a minority background, please apply."
Right.
And I feel like I don't know, are they box ticking? Where to me, at the end of the day, funny is just funny.
I think so I run a gig myself, and I've noticed a lot of people who are funny, who are from like marginalized groups or like minority groups, don't tend to put themselves out there. I don't know why. So I stopped making my gig like essentially apply only, because I was getting the same men applying again and again, and I was like, okay, so the reason box ticking sort of exists is because a lot of people in minority groups I don't think tend to apply for stuff as readily. And I think there tends to be less confidence. So I've had countless messages from men like you and me say, "Hey, I want a spot at your night. Can I do 10?" And that there's so many to get through. And I think I've had three women apply without me asking them if they want a spot. I've had 100 men apply. I've had three. So I think that's why people do it. I don't think it's. I think like sure, funny is funny, and you shouldn't book someone just to fill that box. I think that's wrong, and I think most people would agree with that. But I understand why, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I think you want a diverse bill, and if you've got five white blokes talking about, their ex-wife being a bitch, going on dating apps, it's you're hearing the same shit over and over
Yeah,
again. Where you
yeah, it
want
gets repetitive.
yeah, I want to, because my favorite type of comedy is storytellers or observationists
Sure.
and hearing about different people's lives. I hate it when
Yeah,
I've got a comic on stage, they've done a bit, and it's like I don't know anything about you still.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
It could just be one thing, like autistic liking trains. That for me is enough to be like, okay, I now know a bit more about you.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
So now I'm then invested. So I do like hearing different, people's. So the bit I love now, bringer spots. Talk to me.
Bring us spots. Um, they are very interesting as a mentality. They only exist in London, as everyone points out. Um, my thing on bringers is they do not need to exist, and the way to stop them existing is for most promoters who run bringer gigs to go, does my night need to actually exist at all? And then to go, nope, and then stop running your own night. And if more people do that, then there are less nights in London, and then the quality of those nights will then go up essentially, because um, fewer nights will lead to like more creativity in how they're run, and it'll be easier to promote because you won't be competing with 600 other people running nights as well. They shouldn't exist. I've done a fair few. I understand why they exist, but they are wrong. um, and I haven't done one in a while now, just because I got sick of the lack of progression from them. I
100%.
Yeah, I just was like, I'm not getting anything from this. I shouldn't need to bring someone to perform, especially if I'm not even getting like a boost in. But if you, I would understand them more if there was like a quicker boost, like, oh, if you bring someone the first two times to a gig, you get like a 10-minute spot. The next one, if you're good or whatever.
Yeah.
I was doing that all the time at certain gigs, and I couldn't get any sort of progression out of them. And then I started traveling outside of Kent and London, and I was getting like 10-minute spots, was getting paid, and I was just like, you know what? Fuck it. I'm so done with these. They don't need to exist.
100%. 100. And the one I would say with being a comedian and traveling, it is expensive. Going to a
Yeah.
night is expensive. There needs to be a cost benefit analysis of, am I getting anything from this night? Do you know what I mean? And that might sound selfish, but if I gig somewhere, I want to either be learning something
Yeah.
or promoting something. I
Oh yeah.
believe Daniel's full blown rant is going to kick in now. I hate bringer
Okay.
spots. I am a 100% activist against them. I feel like a lot of bringer spots are because people are not good comedians. They're shit, so they're hosting their own nights so they can get stage time themselves.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, yeah, like it's a very easy way to get your own stage time without having to like apply for nights you can't get on. Yeah, absolutely.
And then they put it in their own room amongst their own friends, and then they're all sitting around, jerking each other off, telling each other how fantastic they are, and are oblivious to the real world. They need to die. And I am going to go one step further now, and I am such an activist against this. I almost want to create 20 fake accounts and apply to all these bringer spots and never show up to them. So the nights suck because the rule of thumb, the comedian needs to bring the funny, the promoter needs to promote it.
Yeah.
Bottom
Oh
line.
yeah, no, absolutely.
But the one I will challenge is if you but you can call yourself an open mic night, and as long as you're not charging for it, you can do whatever you want. But the second you say your comedy, that's when Bringer needs to stop.
Hmm. Yeah.
Daniel's rant
No,
done.
I agree. Yeah, no, they're pointless, and um a lot of people get roped into them, myself included, just because they're very easy to get on bringer spots. That's why they exist, and yeah, but they suck. And I don't do
I
many.
saw quite a cute one the other day, and it made me chuckle a little bit. It said a Bringer spot, and it said, "Oh, like it's always a packed out room." And I looked at the picture of the room, and it was a packed out room, but it was evident that about 20 of the people were all in the same group because they was all wearing cowboy hats. So obviously there was like a hen night or a stag do. And
Yeah.
obviously they were like, "Oh my god, let's take this picture here to show us always a
Yeah,
busy room."
yeah. Oh no, promoters do that all the time. I've been like duped into so many. I got duped in quite a few gigs early on just because promoters will like take one photo out of context and make it look like an amazing room. It's just like downstairs in a pub or but yeah.
What's
So
what
it's very
is there a room that you know that you like in particular that you always love doing?
oh god. I try not to be like a regular at too many gigs just to like give myself a bit of diversity, but ones I've really enjoyed doing in the past. In Kent, there's a gig called Funny Cuts run by a very good friend of mine, Sham Shakil. That was one of the first gigs I properly did, and I really liked it. What else is a good one I've done regularly? Oh God. Uh, Even though it there's a really good one in London that I don't think really properly fully exists anymore called Groovy Grove in Hammersmith, which was a non-bringer and they paid you and also got a nice room. It was quite a small building, but the promoter went really out there with how she ran the gig. So I really like that one. I loved Beat the Frog. I will go back there again at some point just because even though it was expensive, it was a really fun room. And now that I've beaten it once, I won't care as much. I did a really fun one in Colchester not too long ago for a guy called Greg Edwards who packed
Yeah.
out like a full room. And that paid as well. So it's hard because I try not to do too many repeat gigs.
Okay. Do you
I
find
don't
there's
know.
a difference between like the setting of paid work and non-paid work?
I
Like, is
think paid work
go on, no, so go on, go on.
I think paid work tends to be slightly easier once you actually get it, because if
Agree.
audiences are paying for something, their expectation is already quite high. So you can get away with quite a bit more. At like unpaid open mic nights, those tend to be like a real test of your ability. I think they are, obviously it sucks to not get paid for stuff, but the upside is if you get laughs in there, you probably are doing something right, just because they are not going to be going in with any they're not going in expecting top tier comedy. They're going in expecting like a chuckle. And if you get like a big laugh or a round of applause in like a basement in a pub, you're doing something right. And that's a good litmus test for then doing later paid work. But yeah, paid work I find much easier. That sounds weird, but yeah, it's harder to come by. But when it does come by, it's just rewarding in and of itself, I find.
Yeah, completely agree. And there's, so I've seen so many people on open mic level who I will say now are much better than me. They're a much better comedian
Mhm.
than me. They're more experienced than me. They just they're just doing something wrong to not move on
Mhm.
to the paid work. I know the competition's fierce out there, but it's just a couple of little tweaks. And maybe they've got to put themselves out there a little bit more.
I think a little bit, yeah. I know a lot of good comedians in London who are still stuck on like the bringer circuit quite a bit, and I really feel for them. I do. I hate bringers, but I can't fault the people doing them. If that makes sense. Like it's
I kind of feel like it's almost like, was it false promises?
Yeah, a lot of people are being sold a line. They're told, well, if you do this one, we'll bring a gig, you'll get progress. And after about a year or 2 years, I think most people wise up and they go, "No, we're not getting anything out of this," and then they figure out how to get paid work quicker and stuff like that. But yeah, there's a
Or
lot
they
of good
quit.
comedians, or they quit, which is always a shame. I've had quite a few good friends of mine pack it in after not getting the results they wanted. I think it's genuinely quite sad. But yeah, no, I do agree. I think there's a lot of like great comedians who just aren't getting noticed. I think the grassroots comedy scene isn't. I think a lot of people ignore the grassroots comedy scene, and they go straight to like pro and semi-pro stuff to seek out new talent when there's new talent on all levels. But yeah,
I was speaking to Alistair Barry, and
oh yeah,
top lad. He said to me, "I was like when like your Michael McIntyres, your Kevin Bishops, all that. When you get to that level, it's easier to get the loss because
yeah,
people know you're that. To go and do it day in day out to a room where nobody knows you and you're getting laughter, that is the truest gladiatorial skill of comedy.
yeah,
And then,
absolutely.
and then I don't know if it's just luck after that, but to get elevated to then the actual top tier Saturday night headlining work. But yeah, it's that is the truest form. Going to a place where nobody knows you and getting them to laugh.
Yeah, absolutely. It's so difficult. And I think there just needs to be more acknowledgement of the open mic circuit by the rest of the scene. Yeah,
Yeah. So when if you are into comedy, I'll always advise don't go straight for the pros. Go look at the amateur level. It is it, and I'll tell you that's one thing I was shocked about because getting into comedy, I thought, oh this can be easy. I bet they're all shit. I'm gonna smash through the ranks. No, they're not. They are
no,
not. Like, okay, look, there are some dog shit people out there. Do not get me wrong, but a lot of people are good. They are a good stand. They know their stuff. They know the science behind the jokes. And yeah, people are good, even on the amateur level.
yeah, absolutely.
So with like doing comedy well, how would you say like your crowd work's developed, and how do you deal with
Um,
hecklers?
so that's a good question. I never really used to think about hecklers too much when I was starting out, because I wrote everything down long form, so there wasn't really much room to acknowledge a heckler in my set. The way I've sort of changed it is a lot of my stuff is like sort of half improvised, half written down now. So if someone does heckle me, I can just sort of naturally change the flow of the conversation to quickly talk to them, shut them up, and then move on. And I think that's like just a generally quite good way of dealing with them is just having the flexibility, knowing it's probably going to happen at some point. I read something from like I think Laura Lex wrote the other day, which was that she doesn't see the problem in acknowledging when a heckler does say something that's genuinely funny, because most of the time what hecklers say is just like stupid bollocks, and it like detracts from the flow of the set. But she said something like, if they say something funny and the audience laugh, you've got no choice but to acknowledge that, because if you try and fight them, you make yourself look worse. You ruin your purpose, which is to be funny. So heckling is inevitable. Deal with it is sort of the way I react towards it. It's not going to happen every night, but it will happen, and when it does, it's fine. It's probably going to be fine, and just say something quick and then move on.
So, say if you was performing, and I'm just chuck a couple out. Say if someone just did an unwitty, off the cuff, like you shit.
That has happened once. I I asked him why he thought that, just because I couldn't really think of anything else to say, and then he said, "Oh, it's okay. I'm also autistic." Because what will happen is they'll open up once you acknowledge them. If they're confident enough to say your shit, they'll open up the moment you talk to them. And he said, "Oh, I'm also autistic," and I just said something very snarky like, "Oh, I'll take away your diagnosis then if you're not careful," and that won the crowd back over. I'm not saying that I really know how to do with like hostile heckling, but hostile heckling is genuinely quite rare. I've done like over 300 gigs at this point, and I've had maybe one, two heckles I'd say were actually like genuinely horrible, rather than just someone's drunk or they just want to try and be funnier than me or whatever. Yeah, I've only had like two proper
Okay,
not nice.
okay, I'm gonna do a not a nice one then. Now,
Okay,
so say you do your train bit,
yeah,
and then someone shouts, oh, "Fuck knows," your mum gets rammed like a train.
okay. I'd probably just say something like, "There's no winning the crowd over at that point." So I'd probably just say something like, "How did you find out?" or something like that. Just
Yeah,
something.
perfect. Yeah, yeah, love that. Yeah, yeah. It's one that you think like I think people who've never done comedy, you think it's going to happen all the time because social media shoves crowd work down your throat,
Yeah, it really does. Yeah.
and it's not quite like that to be honest on the
Oh no.
stage. So you got to have your arsenal. How do you find the social media side of being a comedian? Because being funny, I would say, unfortunately, is probably only about 30% of the job now.
Um, I'm really bad at updating my like social media. It was interestingly like easier when I was starting, because it like I wasn't gigging as much when I started, so it was easier to update it with, oh, here's a photo from this gig, here's my next show, here's this, blah blah blah. Um, I find it overwhelming. I wish I had someone to do the social media stuff for me while I just did all the funny stuff. That's why I want an agent. I'm not at a level where I have an agent yet or anything. But the moment if I get someone, if I'm ever at a level where I can pay someone to just do all of that for me, that's what I really want to do. Um, but it is interesting because when I do post stuff, it does get traction. TikTok is easier than Instagram, I found, to get stuff noticed. If you post something on TikTok and you do the right hashtags, you will get swarmed with likes quite quickly. Whereas Instagram, it will probably only reach your like people following you. So only like my friends and other comedians have seen the stuff I post on Instagram, I think. And YouTube is almost at the moment for me anyway, like a dead end. I posted stuff on there and it's only really been bookers and a few other comedians who I think have watched it. I don't think it's anyone I don't think there's anyone looking for comedy who's seen it. So it is interesting. I find TikTok the most useful at the moment.
Okay. I like TikTok, but I know I think it's only good for doing like say like your 15-second clips and stuff.
Yeah. No, you can't post a full set on there, obviously, or anything like that, because no one's going to watch that on TikTok. But um, it does get a quick like. It is quick when you just post something, and I found it moderately okay for building a profile. It's not done anything huge there, but then again, I'm also bad at updating my TikTok.
I do find social media the hardest bit as well. That would be the first thing I'd pay someone to
Yeah,
take off my hands. And
yeah,
I
absolutely.
just don't get it. I've been trying to do the same hashtags and stuff. It's just, you know, just don't get it. I mean, it's one of them things you think it looks easy. Oh,
Hmm.
anyone can do that. Do a picture, a couple of hashtags, job done. There's an art form to it, and I don't know how to do it.
No,
And it
me neither.
winds me up.
It's really frustrating.
No, right, I'll finish with these two questions because they're always my favourite
Mhm.
ones. We'll start off with, and you cannot say just do it. I'm saying that in advance now. New comedian, never got on stage before, bit nervous. What advice would you give them?
Um, can't say, so I can't say just do it. Whatever happens, the worst case scenario is probably not uh likely to happen at all. No one is going to remember your first ever time on stage. No one cares. Because chances are, if you're doing your first ever set, it's going to be on a lineup with 20 other comedians or however big the number, also probably doing their first time or the first few times. You are going to be among a faceless blur. And if you are bad at it, which you might well be, it's just not going to matter because no one is going to care for if the worst case scenario people are just going to go, oh, that was a bit shit, and then forget about it the next day. No one is going to remember you if you are bad on your first time, and if you're good on your first time, then great. You have essentially been given the green card to keep going. Yeah, that's essentially what I'd say.
It's always weird because speaking to a lot of comedians, it's always weird how the first gig goes really well and the second gig
Mhm.
sucks.
Yeah, it sort of happened a little bit with me. Like my second gig was a lot worse than my first in terms of like how it went. And I think the first one, it's sort of like the high of doing it for the first time. You get laughs and then you blow it up in your head, and then even by the second time you get more used, you're already more used to it, so you're noticing more accurately the amount of laughs you're actually getting and stuff like that. Yeah,
Yeah, I agree. And then it sort of brings you back to reality a little bit. And they're like, oh
yeah,
wait, this is a marathon, not a sprint anymore. Okay,
yeah.
I always end it with this question. It's my favorite question. Don't really care about the second bit, but I ask it to be polite. Um, oh no, I'm doing this in reverse again. Don't care about the first bit, sorry. What's been your favorite moment on stage and what time did we bomb the hardest?
My favorite moment on stage, probably when uh, um I did the West End UAT final. I actually won that earlier this year. And the first 2 minutes of my set weren't going that well. They were going fine. And then I essentially told the crowd that if they vote for me, if they don't vote for me, they're evil or whatever. I can't remember the exact words, but I said something like that, and all of a sudden it got a huge laugh, and I ended up, I think, winning just because I told people if they didn't vote for me, they suck. So I was sort of like, I'm disabled. So if you don't vote for me, that's a hate crime or you're evil.
Uh,
So I really enjoyed that, doing that in a big room, just telling people off. The time I bombed the hardest was while I was at university. I was in the comedy society, and I did a character act. And I've only done this character twice. And the second time I did it, it was like this character who I was essentially playing the devil, and I was doing people who are in hell, not for being evil, but for being annoying. And I just listed all of the people I found annoying, and I just went drama students. And I was doing it to a crowd of drama students, including my classmates. And I told them all they were going to hell. They did not find it funny, and that set is on YouTube, on one of my friends' YouTube channels. And I wish I could tell them to take it down, but I know I can't. Just because.
just out of
So
curiosity, what's his friend called?
um,
What's the YouTube channel
I,
called? Don't make me, I will find it.
you'll
So
find it.
you can give me the grace period of
Oh
not
God,
having I am gonna
let me
find it
like.
and it will
Oh,
be
it
in the
might be on.
description now. Just so you know
Okay,
that.
great.
You set yourself up for that
Okay,
one.
fine. Do you know what? I will. I think I might have found it, and I will. Do you want me to DM it to you? Because I think I found the
One
video.
million percent because I tell you what, I do commend people doing character comedy. I will never
Yeah,
do it because you can't,
yeah,
once you're up there, you're up there. You can't say, well, this joke's not going well, let me try something else. You're stuck in that bit.
yeah.
So
Well, I found the video. I will send it to you right
lovely stuff.
now.
And what
I
was your
have.
favourite moment? The bit that always lasts with you. You always have it.
Um,
Oh yeah. So doing competition was your favourite, telling everyone they're a dickhead and they don't vote for the disabled guy, and being a devil, saying you hate other drama students in front of other drama students.
yeah, that was awful, and it's so embarrassing.
Did you
I've
retire
got the
doing character comedy after that?
I've done like a different character since then that's like a lot better. Yeah, but I don't really do it that often anymore. I don't think I'm that good at it, but who knows? I've sent you the video, so it's on your link. It's on your link. Do your worst.
I'm gonna do my worst,
But
100%. Yeah, I'm gonna make it like the intro for every single episode now, just so you know that. Yeah,
oh, fantastic!
I'm here for you. I'm here for you. Yeah, I spoke. No, one. Adam, mate, you've been absolutely brilliant. Thank you for
Oh,
coming on. Yeah.
thank you for having me.
No, it's been a pleasure, and I'll see you on the bill circuit. Yeah,
Yeah, I'll see you
I
soon.
laughed. I laughed a lot when I saw you. So yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing it again.
All right, thank you.
Cheers, guys. Cheers, Adam.